Dante's Divine Comedy, Inferno, Canto the 7th.
I remember there was a lot of slush on the ground and snow and ice, and there was, I think, some really gaunt, naked dudes. I don't know if they were naked, maybe that's just me editorializing. And they were being chased by this three-headed wolf, and he was like ravenously hunting them all down.
So as they trance on from Circle 3 to Circle 4, they run into Plutus.
Is that Plutus as in, like, Pluto or Hades?
No, Plutus was the Greek god of wealth.
Oh, interesting.
Which will be fitting for this next circle. When they first run into him, he's just kind of muttering this gibberish. Plutus is coming at them. He's looking real scary. But Virgil says, don't worry, I'll take care of this. And he goes up. First, he, like, insults Plutus. And then he basically goes, hey, we're on a mission from God. We're going to keep going. Everyone reacts a little bit differently to this information. It says Plutus just kind of falls limp. So they're here in the fourth circle. What Dante sees here is two massive groups of people. They're on either sides of this huge field, and each one has like this huge rock that they're pushing around. They'll each gather on two sides of the field, and then they'll run at each other like they're two different teams, trying to hit each other with their massive rocks.
Oh, weird.
And they roll them in trying to hit the other people. They start yelling like insults at the other people and like yelling at them. Then they all grab their rocks and they all go back to the other side of the field again to gather up, and then they do it again. And they just keep doing it over and over.
Bizarre.
Dante asks who they are, like, who are all these people? Virgil explains that the people here are here for monetary sins. So specifically, the two groups of people here are people who hoarded wealth, people who hoarded things, they kept their wealth, they didn't do anything with it, and people who wasted wealth. People who did stuff with it, but they just wasted it. They lived in extravagance. Dante remarks, hey, I probably could recognize some people from here, right? I mean, there's so many of them, and I've known people who hoarded and wasted wealth in their time. But Virgil tells him that because these people blinded themselves with their wealth, they've become unrecognizable to other people as well. At this point, Virgil begins lamenting to himself about how, as we can see here, people will tear themselves apart just on the fleeting good granted by fortune, and he refers to fortune here like it's a person. He points out that looking at all these people here, not all the gold in the world could buy them even a millisecond of pause from their torture here. So it's just ironic that they will ruin themselves for any amount of wealth when, now that they're here, it doesn't do them any good. But while saying that, he mentions fortune. Dante decides, hey, Virgil, you probably know a little bit more about her than I do. He actually calls her Dame Fortune. And so Virgil explains how all the different layers of heaven have like angels posted on them. The same is true for Earth, and Dame Fortune manages them all. And so it's her domain to essentially rule over all of the stuff on Earth. She's what gives things to people. She's what takes them away. She's always changing, right? So she's always keeping things changing. Nothing ever stays the same. You'll gain something here, you'll lose something later. This thing belongs to this person, now it belongs to that person.
Interesting. She's more like the day trader of the angelic realm.
Something like that.
Trading people's stuff constantly.
Yeah, it's a little bit more authoritarian because no one can stop her, right?
Okay.
She decides when you gain things and when you lose things. It is up to her. If you think about her name, literally, Fortune, it's not just fortune as in wealth, it's fortune as in luck. At this point, they start moving onward. They come upon a large body of water. The water, though, is black and dirty and absolutely awful. They walk along it for a while. They find where it's going down a little waterfall. They make their way down. And at this point, they're to the fifth circle. The water here is pouring into this giant, vile and disgusting and smelly swamp. The swamp is called Styx, not like more than one stick, like the Greek mythological heuristics. So they're walking along the swamp. Dante looks in, and he can see within the swamp a bunch of spirits. These ones are naked, and they're all fighting each other. Like, they're yelling and screaming and, like, punching and kicking and, like, biting and, like, tearing each other's limbs to try and, like, tear them off. Virgil says, these are the wrathful. These are the people who are sent to hell for their wrath. Throughout the swamp and places, there's, like, bubbles coming up from the swamp, which you think is, oh, it's just swamp stuff. But Virgil's like, no, that's not swamp stuff. Those are people underneath the waters of the swamp.
Oh, gosh.
And those bubbles are them constantly singing this song. He explains that those people are the sullen. They wasted the joy of life, and they just kind of spent all their time just ignoring beauty and just being sullen all the time. And so now they have to sit underneath the water where they can't breathe and just endlessly sing this weird little song.
So these are your, like, crotchety old people who can never really enjoy things and kind of just were content to live in their little single-wide trailer in the country with a cat.
It's probably not only old people.
Oh, sure.
As they're walking alongside the swamp, they eventually come to this tower, and this is where the seventh canto ends.